Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, back with another action-packed session. Today, we're going to be talking about single versus multifamily rental properties. Which strategy is the best? So a lot of us think multifamily is always better. We want to go bigger and better. Some people are buying a lot of singles, and the multifamily investors don't understand why. What are they seeing in the singles that I'm missing out on? Should I be going after singles, or should I just be straight multifamily? I'm going to break down all of that today. If you're new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment that says I subscribe. For everyone who leaves that comment, I'm going to send you instant access to one of my free real estate trainings. It's going to show you how to acquire properties for pennies on the dollar all across the country. Don't want to miss out on that. We're going to get straight into this. If you guys are interested in any of our mentorship programs or things like our Boots on the Ground program, where we find, finance, rehab, tenant, and manage properties for you, if you're on IG, just DM me cash flow. If you're on YouTube, just subscribe, and we'll get you guys tapped in. And guys, drop your questions in the chat in the comment section before we get into the training. And I will stop as we're flowing through to answer questions. The mindset. This is what I've been seeing a lot. I've been seeing lots of deals go under contract, like in today's market. Some of that's definitely due to rates are falling. There's more opportunities on the market, but there's something that is called like momentum in real estate. Real estate is very much like sports. So if you follow sports teams, like football's coming up, and that season's starting to get into play, you'll have like momentum. Like, this team went on a run. You'll hear things like that. The team went on a run. Oh, they have a momentum now. What is momentum? Momentum is what you build up by applying consistent pressure over the period of time. So if you keep applying pressure within anything, you see it in sports. You can put pressure on the defense. You can go on a run. You can take off and then feed off of that positive energy. When you start winning deals as a real estate investor, especially when you're new, you've never done it before, it might take you time to get your first deal. And that can be very disenchanting for a lot of people. They're like, damn, it's taking me a long time. Is this going to happen? How much work do I have to put in? There's all this fear and doubt going through your mind. Once you get your first deal, you've built up momentum. So what I see a lot of the time is for new investors, as soon as they win their first deal, I see deal number 2 and 3 within like a matter of weeks. A week or two, they got 3 deals now. And they're like, wait, it took me less than half the time to get deals 2 and 3 than it took me to get deal number 1. That's normal. That's a normal part of this game. That's a normal part of real estate. So you have to stick with it. You have to realize when you're a new real estate investor, not only are you trying to hit that first deal, get that monkey off your back, but you're building momentum in your journey, on your journey to hit that first deal. You're building so much momentum that you can't see, that people like me can, because I know how it works, that you can achieve whatever you want. So if your goal is to do 30 deals, you start off just doing that one. It might take you, let's say it took you a year to do one. It took me a year. At the end of year 2, you could have 10 from momentum. At the end of year 3, you could have 50. And I've seen it happen multiple times from multiple people, myself included. This is part of my experience. So just don't give up on your journey. If you're feeling like it's tough, if you're feeling like you're spinning your wheels, you're not getting traction, keep pushing, because you're building momentum. And if you quit or you give up on yourself now, you've now thrown all of that momentum out the window. And you don't get it back. The only way you build momentum is by applying consistent pressure over time, over the course of time. So if you throw that away now because you're not seeing the results, even though they're building up, you're now going to miss out on you're not really missing deal number 1. You're missing 2, 3, and 10. That was going to come from the activity of learning how to do deal number 1. Guys, let's get into the breakdown today. We're going to go through 4 points. There's so many points to this. I could probably rant on this for like all year. I could just keep doing these sessions. But we're going to go point by point. If you guys have questions, drop them in the chat section. If you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe, share the content with somebody who you want to get value. And DM me, if you're on IG, DM me cash flow. On YouTube, just sub up, drop a comment that says I subscribe, and we'll send you some value. So first point, single family. Why would single family be better than multifamily? Or is multifamily just better than single? Point 1 is lower costs. So for a single family, if I'm a new real estate investor, I've never done a deal before, I'm going to start off with single family. Now, there are wrinkles to this. If I'm doing a house hack, I'm just going with an FHA loan. I just want to do a straight up FHA house hack. I might go with a multi because I'm using a 3.5% down first time home buyers loan that I can't reutilize in the future. I can, but we're just keeping it simple here. I'm going to use this FHA loan one time or for the first time. So I want to get the most house possible because I can only put down that 3.5% once. Certainly if you're a VA, like a veteran, you could get the VA loan and do the FHA. There's all different types of wrinkles. If you pay off a FHA, you can use it again in the future. But we're just talking about, I'm just getting started. I'm doing my first deal. What do? I might do an FHA house hack on a multi, on a triplex or a quadplex. But if I'm getting into the BRRRR strategy and I really want to scale this thing, like I want to do this commercial at a commercial level, I want to scale a portfolio. I'm getting very serious. I want to quit my 9-to-5 and live off of real estate full time. You're going to have to get into the BRRRR strategy in order to be able to scale effectively. You're going to have to. There's other strategies out there. There's certainly creative financing. But even as you're doing all those things, you might do creative financing, a lot of it, as you're building up your capital. But most people I've seen, when they build up their capital, they start doing the BRRRR strategy. The BRRRR strategy has a lot of tax advantages. That's where you buy a property, you rehab it, you rent it out to a tenant, maybe you Section 8 it, you refinance out of it, and then you repeat. So that's all the R's. Buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. That's the BRRRR strategy if you're super new. So the single family can be superior because it's a lower entry cost than any multifamily. On deals 2 through 10, now you're putting down pretty much 20%, sometimes 30% for a multi, even though they do have some new programs. They advertise you can do less, but you have to occupy. So it would still be like a pseudo FHA loan. For the single, you're just putting down less money because you can buy these in a market like Philly. You could buy these for even turnkey, probably like $140,000 turnkey. So you put down $28,000 and you can produce cash flow from what I've seen. On a multi, you're gonna buy those turnkey $300,000, $400,000 in a market like Philly. So you're putting down $80,000, $60,000 plus closing costs. So less capital, lower cost of entry. What goes along with lower cost as well is if you make mistakes. So when you're new, your biggest fear as a new real estate investor, I mean, my biggest fear was that the house is just going to burn down. My house is going to burn down or a gust of wind is going to come by and just knock it over. It was completely irrational. I mean, it's a great brick built house. So it's not going to burn or get blown down, but it was an irrational fear. And that's part of the game when you're new. But your biggest fear is that you're going to make a costly mistake that's unforeseen, you weren't aware of, and it's going to knock you out of the game. That's usually your biggest fear. So lower cost here means if you make that mistake, you're going to lose less money on a single. If you make that mistake on the multi, you're not going to lose. You're going to lose a lot. If you make it on a single, you're not. The multi, if you make that mistake, it could be a $50,000 mistake. Hey, I didn't understand the zoning. This happened, or they came through. They hit me with the sprinkler. That was $50,000. That was $40,000. Your mistakes here are going to be bigger. So you need more capital if you want to enter the game in just the multifamily lane. So lower cost to me, outside of the FHA house hack that we talked about, lower cost is smarter to me as a new real estate investor. Start small. Make small mistakes if you're going to make them, and then use those to scale up bigger in the future because you're building momentum. You don't need to worry about what you're doing now. You just need to be doing something now. You need to be getting experience. You need to be getting your feet wet. The faster you get your feet wet, the more momentum you build faster, the faster you get here, the faster you get out of the 9-to-5. The faster you're not, even if you're in the 9-to-5, you're not fully dependent on it anymore because you have the ability to produce income outside of the 9-to-5. There's so many people that just don't. So there's nothing wrong with the 9-to-5, but if you're 100% reliant on every penny of your income to come from the 9-to-5, you're in a scary position because then what happens? Somebody comes in, they fire you, you lose your job, or you get sick, you can't do that type of work anymore. What are you going to do? Nobody's going to save you. The government's typically not going to save you either. you have to be able to save yourself, which is why the real estate, having this tool on your tool belt, is such a powerful thing. Guys, if you're getting value, like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment that says I subscribe. If you're on IG, DM me cash flow to tap into my free trainings, and share the content with somebody else you want to get value. So I'm giving the point, on the singles to the lower price, and we've talked about why. Number two, there's more exit strategies with a single family than there are with a multifamily. With a single family, let's say you get in a jam, you want to flip this deal, but you couldn't. Well, now you can hold on to it, you can rent it, you can Section 8 it, you can rent to own it, because there's always going to be people who want to own or occupy. I see somebody commented cash flow, DM me cash flow. You'll have all these different exit strategies. You could do creative financing exits. You can rent to own out. That's a big exit advantage here that you don't necessarily get. With the multifamily, when you go to sell, if you go to sell. Also, one more thing I'll say on the more exits, just selling, you have more people, more demand for single family than you do for multifamily, because owner occupants want to live here. So if you bought a bunch of single families, they're going to appreciate with the market. So in markets that go up very quickly, you can make a lot of money on appreciation. But there's just all these exit strategies and increased demand. More demand means it's safer because you're the supply. So you want more people that want your product versus less. The multifamily, you're really only selling to investors. Now, a lot of people talk about that. But if you go to offload, let's say you find a better opportunity, or you're more advanced and now you're trying to do a ground up deal. So you're like, all right, let me offload this multi and I'm gonna get the capital. I'm gonna go do a ground up deal, do a bigger multi. Well, you have to sell to investors, and investors think like me. So they're price shopping. They're looking for a deal. They don't want to pay full price. They're nitpicky. They don't want it pre-tenanted. There's like all these conditions that are going to come along with a investor that the mom and pop buyer does not have all of those conditions. They're easier to sell to than selling to the other investor at a premium. So just keep that in mind. You're limiting your demand. Now, there's an artificial feeling that there's a ton of demand in the multifamily space because there's less supply. That's the next line. There's less inventory here. So when there's less inventory on the multis, you can have higher pricing fluctuations. And I'm gonna get into that. But I will say more exit strategies, safer. If your biggest fear is that something could go wrong in the deal and you want as many exit strategies as possible, single family is your best move for your rentals and for your flips. And for your flips. It gives you more options. Single family has more deals, more deal flow. There are more single families on the market than multi in any market. So you have more deal flow. More deal flow means more unsophisticated sellers that you can structure deals with for pennies on a dollar, whether you're off market or on the MLS. And for those in the Boots on the Ground program, we're in the process of rolling out a complete off market channel that we're financing for the program's benefit, where we're going to be generating off market leads and leading those, and then just retargeting them to you, reassigning those deals to you. We're going to roll that out in Philly first, and then some other cities. But more deals, lots of more deals, more foreclosures, just a greater inventory. With less inventory, with more inventory, more supply, more wiggle room to negotiate down on pricing, more wiggle room to make a deal. That's better for you. So if you want better pricing, or you're constantly getting priced out as you're in your multifamily endeavor, you may want to just shift over to single family because of the last point that we'll get into, which is the last kind of myth. These are all kind of myths of why multi is better than single. But less inventory, higher prices. That's the difference between, like, if I'm going after single family and you're going after multi and somebody else is going after commercial, the price variations between those product lines, I'm going to get more value as a single family focus than you are on the multi and the commercial guy, because there's less supply. And when you go higher up the food chain, once you go up to multis, $500,000, the people who are buying those properties at $500,000, 400,000, 600,000, they have more capital to play with, and they tend to be more sophisticated because you have more investors in that bucket. So the competition is higher than it is for more deals. If you go up to commercial, now you have hedge funds, banks, you have big players with even more money. And when people have more money, it's not always that they're more sophisticated than you. You might run your numbers better. You might know your comps better. You might know your cost of construction better. They might be playing a longer term game than you. So you're like, hey, I'm trying to get in, get out, get my money out, move to the next one, build momentum. And they're just like, I'm sitting on 10 million. I'm going to park 2 million over here. I'm going to park $1 million over here. Then we're going to wait 5 years. We're going to increase the net operating income. Then we're going to offload it, and we're going to take the money. Like, they're doing a different game. And within their different game, they might not care if they get the property for 500,000 or 600,000. So they'll just outbid you. That can happen. That happens a lot because people are playing different games. But some people want to run into commercial. They don't understand that, well, actually, you can get better valuations per deal on your singles, even versus your multis, to the degree that if I show you, and a lot of people don't believe this, but this is the reality. This even shocked me because I came into this game 100% multi. I was like, I'm the multifamily man. Only multis. My first 3 properties were multis. So I came in that way. With this deal flow, if I stack up, let's say we have a triplex, we have 3 singles. If I take 3 single family properties and stack it against a triplex, I'm going to have more cash flow coming out of my 3 singles than I will out of the multi. Even though you're being told out there, well, if you get the multifamily, it's more cash flow because the expenses are lower. The expenses on your 3 singles are going to eat away all your money. So if you just get lower expenses by grouping them all into one building with one expense, you're going to save. It's not how it really works out in actuality. In actuality, you do save some on these expenses here, but the cost of the house is so much bigger than the single that the taxes are higher, the expenses end up being higher, the maintenance. The property management ends up being more complicated because if I have 3 tenants, let's say I Section 8 both of these, the triplex and the single. If I have 3 tenants in here, who's responsible for cutting the grass? That's what they're going to do. I don't know. In the single, I can actually make each of the 3 single, okay, this is your property. You're responsible for cutting the grass, shoveling the snow. That's your thing. Call me if something breaks, but everything else is your thing. What if there's a bed bug outbreak? If it's a single family, that would be on the tenant. You can certainly help them. You can certainly lean in if that's how you're inclined, but that would be their issue. Who brought the bed bugs in? They did. And some municipalities, if you have a triplex or greater and there's a bed bug issue, you're responsible. Now, if you don't know anything about how to eliminate bed bugs from a property, it can be extremely costly. It could easily be a $20,000 expense or more. Or it could be a $5,000, $6,000 expense, depending on your knowledge level. But those are the types of things that are happening that nobody really talks about. But in actuality, as you're managing this property, you're like, well, damn, I shoveled the snow 3 times. I had to cut the grass, pull the weeds. I'm doing all this upkeep of the common area. I'm paying somebody to do that. And then the expenses are higher because the damn taxes are higher. I'm not saving that much. You actually look at your cash flow. You're like, damn, I'm cash flowing more over here. I can get the deals cheaper over here. I got more exit opportunities over here. And I can play with less capital. That's the reality. If I took 3 triplexes and stacked them against a 9-unit, the triplexes would cash flow better than a 9-unit on average. Because there is a premium built into each of these market sectors. There's a premium. Think about it this way. There's a premium you pay to buy a single family home above a trailer. If you're going to buy like a trailer park house, there's going to be a premium you pay to buy a single family in a residential, tapped into the utilities, over buying a trailer park home, a mobile home. So you're paying a premium to enter. No, this is not a car. This is not a trailer. This is not a mobile home. This is a crib. This is a house. There's a premium stepping into that league. That's why some people don't. They want to stay in the mobile home game because they know it's cheaper. But there are pros and cons. There's a lack of tax benefits in some of those strategies that nobody talks about. But as you go up to multi, there's a premium because there's less inventory, big demand with bigger money than most people, and willing to pay more and willing to play a long-term game. All of these factors. And then if you go from multi to commercial, same thing. Another premium, bigger pockets. That's the game. So that's going on behind you. So don't get blown away there thinking there's more cash flow. There's not, because of these reasons, because you can get more deals here. You can buy them lower. There's more exits. There's more ways to make money. And you can offset unforeseen expenses or reoccurring expenses like grass cutting and snow shoveling, which is a big deal in the Northeast markets. You can offset it and you can isolate it. And your multifamily, you can get drama in the multi. You got a multi, you Section 8 it. Anything can happen. One tenant's annoying the other. The bad tenant's driving out the good tenant, or it could be perfectly fine. But you're putting people in closer quarters. So there's just more opportunity for drama within the multifamily play versus the singles. So this is a breakdown. This is definitely skewed to the argument of singles. We could make an argument on multis, but I don't think there's a value in over focusing on multis. You really need to open yourself up to see the value of single family. This is why some of the biggest hedge funds, the people that they're now trying to pass legislation to stop them from being able to purchase single family properties, they're buying up all the singles. So you think some of the smartest banks with the world's, the quants that go to MIT, like the best math minds that are hired, do you think they're dumb? Like, do you think they're dumb and they're just buying singles because they're dumb and they don't know that multifamily beats single family every time? It don't. It doesn't beat it every time. In fact, single beats multifamily most of the damn time. And they can see it. But they're happy to have the other information kind of flow out. And just say, oh, keep telling them that multifamilies are better. Let us buy up all this single. Because they know they can rent them and they can dump them. They don't have to get it right in the short term. They just have to survive. If they survive 5-10 years, once they hit an up market, if they buy 15,000, 30,000 singles and the market appreciates 50%, you know how much money that is? And then they'll pinch out the rental market. So then they could take a part of their portfolio and say, look, this market's appreciating. Take half the portfolio, rent it out. They can control the rental market. So it's they're playing a big boy game, but you have to be able to see things from their perspective so that you can piggyback method. Oh, they're doing this. Let me get in on that action. Or if they're buying the Midwest, let them have that. I'm going to focus over here. Go into the affordable space. If you see them hitting the mid market, start to, but still understand the game. They're seeing value in single family, or they would just buy all the multis. They have enough money to do either. So this is not a opportunity cost thing. So hopefully that helps you guys. We're going to get into some of the questions. If you got value, like I said, share the content with somebody else who you want to get value. Like, comment, subscribe. DM me Cashflow if you're on IG. We'll flow on any questions you guys have on either platform. Here's a question. What can you do? Let me bring that up on the screen. What can you do if you don't have the money to start in real estate? Then you have to get to the knowledge, because there's only two things in real estate: knowledge and money. The less you have of one, the more you need of the other. So if I have little to no money, and I'm talking extremes, like to the point where you could have no money, but if you have superior knowledge of real estate, I'll give you an example. Let's say I have no money, but I know the cost of construction. I know how to physically go to my local auction, and I know how to evaluate the deals. I know how to see the list. I just have it. I have advanced knowledge, or more knowledge than the common person, than the average bear, on how to attend the auction, how to be registered to bid at the auction. These are all barriers to entry. How to be compliant and registered and have my tax certifications with the city so that they will accept my winning bid. I won't hit a bottleneck. How to bid, what increments you bid in, what the flow is, what types of deals hit on certain days of the month. And I have a system. I can create a basic system. Hey, I'm going to go to the auction. I'm going to bid for people with money because I have none. They'll pay you probably a G or two to sit your ass at the auction. Here's 2 G's. Go sit at the auction for me this month. You go out and get 5 clients. Now you have five people paying you 2 G's to sit at the auction and bid for them. That's $10,000 a month. You stack up a couple of 10s. Now you're there bidding on your own stuff. That's a little business. So with knowledge, you don't need money. You can go get money if you have the knowledge. Go help other people who have money. Help them to get better. And then you'll get there. But getting to the knowledge, that is where the money is. Some people think they'll get money and then they'll apply it to real estate and get good at real estate. You got to take your money and get knowledge. That's maybe the hack. You can get as many damn properties as you want. If you don't have knowledge, it kind of don't matter. But if you get the knowledge, the properties will come. Everything will kind of come to you. Everything will follow how much knowledge you have of the game. So you don't need money. I would start off by getting educated on this game. And then you'll find opportunities to make money. You could wholesale. You could do other types of things. That auction thing was just one thing. So, you can apply that knowledge in many different ways. Or you could go raise the money. You could say, hey, I know how to do these deals. I want to do these deals. Let me raise $50K from this person who had an old IRA, or they had some business credit cards they weren't using anymore. Their Toro business collapsed, but they got a $150K credit line. They're going to take 50 off of Bill.com, send that in, and now you raise 50K. Then you go get a hard money lender. You structure a deal. But you still need knowledge first. So I would just go straight to the knowledge and then allow the momentum to scale me. There's always more money. You could make 100K off a deal. You can make 50K off a deal. You're going to hit deals where you make money. You're going to hit deals where you break even. You're going to hit deals where you lose a little, and you're going to hit home runs. And the home runs, especially long-term, will far surpass any short-term losses or just, base hits. Make a little money or didn't make as much as I thought. It's the momentum that wins. It's the volume that wins. And then consistency over the course of time by building more knowledge. Let's see any other questions. What about duplexes as rental properties? A duplex is a multi, but it's very similar to a single as well in terms of zoning and how they deal with them. So that's why I said if you have a triplex and you have a bed bug issue, you're responsible. But in that same municipality, if you had a duplex, one person could hypothetically blame it on the other, but the municipality is going to write the duplex under the single family occupancy codes. Typically, it doesn't trigger because there are so many people who will live in one unit and rent out their duplex or keep it for like a family owned property that they just don't apply that stuff as often to the duplex. So if you had a bed bug issue in a duplex, you could technically put it on the tenants in a lot of municipalities. It really depends. So are you responsible if it's Section 8? I don't believe so, but I want to check. They would probably have to call it out specifically in the lease, but I don't believe you are. That would be a housing and occupancy law, but they could try to put it into the lease. We'll have to check the leases, and you have to always check the leases. Read every lease before you sign it. Do you rent increase are higher in single family versus multi? Are your rent increases higher in single family versus multifamily? No, because you're increasing on the cost of the unit. So even in a single, you could run up the rent 2-3% or 5%, $25 a month, whatever your number is. In a multi, you would do it as well. You just would have more units per asset to do it in. But that still doesn't. It still wouldn't necessarily override having more single families. I will say, when rents inflate, it's easier to get them. Non-Section 8, of course. Section 8, you can get them. But at times it feels easier to get the money out of the singles because the properties they're bigger. There's more space per family because they're getting multiple floors, a backyard. They're kind of getting that house to themselves. So there's just more value there. You can find tenants faster at times. I say at times because it always depends. Because I've had numerous multifamily properties that'll just bang up in tenants in a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, and it's like fully loaded and rarely ever unoccupied. So I would say that doesn't necessarily play in. But if rents inflate kind of bigger, your rent, if you think about it, is still a byproduct of your mortgage rate, essentially. So people are looking at it as single family versus single family, not necessarily single family, the cost to buy it and pay a mortgage versus the rent to live in a comparable single family property. It's kind of how people are mentally evaluating it. So if their mortgage would be $3,000, they'd be highly likely to pay $2,000, $2,500 a month for your single to rent, save some money. When they're dealing with the apartment, it's really relative to what other apartments are renting for. And then you have to find the right person. For Section 8, let's say if it's 3-bed over 3-bed over 3-bed, that will cash flow. But depending on the size and the footprint and the finish of the property, you may have an easier time just doing the single, getting that tenanted. This is why you want to be in the BRRRR strategy as well, though, because you want to be renting out your properties fixed up, renovated, freshly painted, new flooring, new LVP, new cabinets, new countertops, new backsplash, new shower tile, new appliances. You want it to kind of have a good pop, have your pictures be good so that you can compete and move quickly within a marketplace. Doing the BRRRR strategy allows you to have enough capital to do that. So it's just a little bit better. If you're buying turnkey, then you're buying what somebody else rehab. And it's not always as good as of a property to buy and hold. Because as you're holding that property, things are going to start breaking. And you're going to fix it in reverse while the tenant is living there, which is no fun. Really no bueno. Vanessa asked again, are you responsible to remove bed bugs if it's a Section 8? If it's a multi, if it's a triplex, more than likely, yes, that's going to fall on you. If you really push it to the limit or you took it to court, it will fall on you for the multi because you can't really prove who done it. And they're all going to blame you. I didn't bring these bugs in here. They were here when I got here. There's no way to prove it. So they're going to put it on you so that it gets done. And this can happen on a 50-unit building, by the way, guys. If you're like, why not commercial? Commercial is better. Well, you had a 50-unit building and you got hit with a bed bug outbreak. You'd be like, damn, that was $100K I'll never get back. So it depends, man. The single, it really isolates drama, rodents, infestation, any of that type of stuff. upkeep, routine maintenance. I was dealing with somebody, they're like, oh, the backyard had some weeds had grown in the backyard. They're like, should we just concrete the whole thing? And I'm like, well, you can spend money concreting a whole backyard, $5,000 to do that, to eliminate all vegetation. Or you could just handle it while you're tenanting. Once it's tenanted, it's the tenant's responsibility. You got them with a 6-foot privacy fence. That's their backyard. Nobody's getting back there. So then it's their thing. And the average tenant, Section 8, stays for 5 to 8 years. So now you don't have to worry about it. So you can offload just so much on these singles. And it matters. It makes a difference in your bottom line. Or you're going to have to find a guy who can handle it. Let's see if we got any more. Somebody said, Sierra, what is the soonest you can do a refi on a buy and hold property or a flip? That's a good question. We'll answer for a buy and hold and then for a flip, and what I would do for a flip. On a buy and hold, usually there's not a long, what they call it is seasoning period, like seasoning you would put on your food. So it's not a long seasoning period for most properties, unless the market gets tight, unless lenders start getting nervous or markets start shutting down. Because you got to remember, this whole lending business is based on people buying debt. People are literally buying the debt. So you're going out Section 8ing a property, and there's a mortgage, and that mortgage comes with servicing rights, and that's a piece of paper, and that gets sold. Your mortgage literally is being sold. So your Section 8 rental is in somebody's 401k. Welcome to America. So the seasoning period, during times where the ultimate end buyers of the debt are very comfortable with the market conditions and the 2-year outlook, they're buying the debt, and the seasoning periods are usually 0 or 30 days or maybe 90 days. And that's what even like a credit union. They're like 90 days, you had it, cool. They just want it held long enough to where title can be confirmed. When deals close right now, it might take the city 60 days to record the title at times, or to really update the title within the system. So they want enough time for that to be squared away, where there's no funny business with the title. That's what a lender is requiring a seasoning period for. I would say most of the people I've seen, maybe it's 30 days right now to maybe 90 days max. But if you're doing a rehab on your average property that you're buying for pennies on a dollar right now, 30 cents on a dollar, you're going to need 10 to 12 weeks to rehab it anyway, to get it ready. So you're going to hang on to it for a 90-day period, usually anyway, buying it, just getting it rent ready, finding a tenant, doing all that stuff. You're going to hold on to it. But most of them are like 30 days. So you can buy it and quickly turn it on the market. For a flip, you wouldn't necessarily be exiting the flip because your goal is to sell it. But if it's taking long to sell and you want to unlock liquidity, you can get what's called a bridge loan. And that will cash out a hard money lender and then put like a 75% mortgage, sometimes 80% mortgage on your flip deal for a 2 to 5 year period, interest only. So this will allow you like a breath of fresh air. If you're like, hey, I want to wait out this deal, like we finished it in January. I don't want to really list it until March, April, but I don't want to be stuck in this hard money loan at this higher rate. You do the bridge loan. They will require usually like a 30-day seasoning. But the bridge loan, and once again, by the time you're ready to flip the house, you've done some renovation, it's been a long time. But that will give you at a lower rate. Hard money might be 12%. Bridge might be like 7%, 8%. So lower interest only, low closing costs. You're not doing new transfer taxes because you already own the property. That's something that flippers will do, and that could unlock liquidity to go out and do more deals, to get your money back out of your pocket. Because think about it, it's like instead of waiting to flip it, you do the bridge loan. If you could do it at 80%, you could probably pull 10K of your profit out in advance. Now you could take that, reapply it to other deals, and do your thing. So there's a lot of wrinkles to this game. Hopefully that makes sense, but watch it again if not, because there's a lot of wrinkles to this thing. Get family as a GC here. Yeah, definitely. So guys, hope that helped. It looks like we're out of questions. If you got value, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribe, share the content with somebody else you want to get value. We have a few programs. The real estate ride along tour. I've been getting now blown up about it as of like over the weekend and today. We're doing a ride along November 16th, Saturday in Philly. If you want to be a part of that, reach out, DM me ride along, email me, text me, get a hold of me so that you can reserve your spot, get your tickets for that ride along. If you're interested in the Boots on the Ground program, limited capacity for that. And once again, we're about to roll out the off-market deal sourcing for the Boots on the Ground. Just DM me. Vino Mortgage said the ride along is fire. It's definitely fire. He was at the last one. Reach out and get a hold of me if you're interested in Boots on the Ground. DM me Boots on the Ground. And then we have the Inner Circle program. If you just want to meet with our network, our people, our group, we meet every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Private lenders, mortgage brokers, real estate investors from all over the country, people doing active deals right now, people doing their first deal, people doing their 10th deal, people you can network with and work with from around the country. Definitely tap in. Definitely DM me Inner Circle and get into that. And you'll get the course content that breaks down everything. I mean, this is just off the top of the head, but we have all the advanced stuff in the course, all the recordings of all the private coaching calls we've done over the years. So it's just a ton of value there. So just DM me about that stuff. And we're doing a live on Wednesday. What is this live about? How to invest in buy and hold real estate starting with $15K or less. How to invest in buy and hold real estate even if you're starting out with $15K or less. So we're going to break down that strategy. Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to break that down only on IG Live. So all my YouTubers, tap into the IG, Brian Grimes _247 CFU for the 24/7 Cashflow University. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.